Have you ever been at maybe a friend's party or you're meeting someone totally new
Hmm.
and they turn to you, they smile, and they ask that one simple question. So, what do you do?
And just like that, all the air goes out of the room.
Yes.
You know your job, you're great at your job,
Hmm.
but when you have to find the right words in English to explain it, your mind just goes, well, blank.
It's so true. It feels like, you're trying to send a really important text message and your phone battery just dies.
Right.
That feeling of sudden panic where you can't find the words for the thing you do for like 8 hours every single day.
Yeah.
It's so
And
frustrating.
it happens to everyone. It's because talking about your work is so personal and trying to explain that in a new language, especially when you feel a little pressure, it can be a lot.
Well, that is exactly what we're going to tackle today. We're going to do an in-depth exploration of the language of work.
We'll break it all down, how to talk about what you do, what your day is like, where you work, and even, your dreams for the future.
Our mission today is to give you the confidence to talk about your work clearly, so you feel proud, you feel comfortable in any conversation.
We've gathered all the key phrases and vocabulary. Think of it as our source material for today, and we're going to give you the most important pieces.
Yeah, knowing these phrases is it's like having the right key for a lock.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Once you have that key, the door just opens and a whole conversation about your life and your career can start.
Exactly. And that confidence is really what this is all about. So let's get started with the very beginning, your work identity.
Hmm,
So we'll start with that big question we just mentioned.
what do you do?
Right. It's just the normal, friendly way to ask, what is your job?
And the first step is the simplest answer. You just need your job title. You don't need a whole story,
Not yet, anyway.
just one short, clear sentence.
The most common way to do this uses the verb to be. It's very simple. You just say, I'm a hey, and then your job title.
For example, I'm a student, or I'm a chef.
I'm a software developer. It's direct, it's immediate, and everyone understands it.
That simplicity is really powerful. Now, there's another way to say it that's also very common.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the phrase, I work as a fact.
Right. I work as a cashier, for example.
Hmm.
Or I work as a teaching assistant.
So what's the difference there?
Honestly, there's not much of a difference in meaning. They're very, very similar. Maybe I work as focuses a tiny bit more on the action of the job, but you can really use whichever one feels more comfortable for you.
Good to know. And sometimes you'll see words like junior or senior before the job title.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
That tells you about the person's experience level. A
I-
junior developer is someone who is, newer to the job.
and a senior developer has been doing it for a long time. They have a lot of experience.
Exactly.
It's funny, with our work, I could say something very specific like I'm the host and outline creator.
Which is true.
But if I'm just meeting someone at a party, I'd probably say something simpler. Like I'm a writer and editor.
That is such a good point. You change the title depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah. Simple language for social situations and more specific language for, professional situations.
Perfect. So once you've said your title, the next thing people usually wonder is, where? Where do you do this work?
Right, the company. People want to know the context. Is it a big place? A small one?
For this, you can say, I work for, and then the company's name.
Or if you don't want to say the name, you could be more general. I work for and then the type of company.
So you might say, I work for a book publishing house.
Or I work for a small family-owned bakery. That gives the other person a really clear picture.
It does. But what about? What if you don't work for a company? What if you work for yourself?
Oh, that's becoming so common now. What's the best phrase for that?
The simplest and best phrase is, I'm self-employed.
I love that. I'm self-employed. It's so clear.
It means you are your own boss, you find your own customers, you manage your own time.
Okay, so let me ask you a question that I think a lot of learners have. Is self-employed the same thing as being a freelancer?
That is a fantastic question. They're very close, but there's a small difference. Self-employed is let's say the official general term. It's about your legal status.
Okay.
Freelance usually means you work on different projects for different clients, like a freelance writer or a freelance photographer.
So a person who owns a small coffee shop is self-employed,
Yes,
but you probably wouldn't call them a freelancer.
exactly right. And then there's one more term, contractor.
A contractor.
A contractor is someone who is hired by a company for a specific project or a specific period of time, maybe for 6 months or a year. You work at the company, but you're not a permanent employee.
I see. So you're still technically self-employed.
Precisely.
Okay, this is great. We have the title, we have the place. Now for the most important part.
What you actually do.
Yes, your key tasks. This is where the conversation gets interesting.
This is how you explain your daily work, your responsibilities.
Let's use our own jobs again as an example. I wouldn't just say, I'm a host. It doesn't really explain anything.
Right.
I need to explain the process. So I might say, I am responsible for creating the outline for the show and reviewing the final scripts.
That's very clear. And for me, I could say my main task is to organize all the information and check that all the facts are correct.
Okay, I noticed we both used two really useful phrases there.
We did.
The first one was, I'm responsible for, plus an action.
That phrase is pure gold. It shows that you have ownership of that task.
It sounds very professional. I'm responsible for answering all the customer emails.
And remember, after responsible for, you need to use the verb with a "and" at the end. Responsible for managing the team, not responsible for manage.
Good tip. Okay, and the second key phrase we used was,
My main task is to, and then the action.
This one is perfect for focusing on your number one job, the most important thing you do.
Yes. If you're a programmer, your main task is to write code. If you're a driver, your main task is to drive the truck safely. It cuts right to the center of your job.
And you can expand on that, right? You can talk about managing things or managing people.
Absolutely. If you manage people, you can say, I lead a team of 5 graphic designers. The word lead is very strong.
And if you manage things like products in a warehouse,
You could say, I oversee the inventory. To oversee means you watch and manage a process. It's a great vocabulary word.
this is so helpful. It's about using slightly more professional English to describe your job accurately.
Exactly. Now, before we move on, we have a little challenge for you, the listener.
Yes, we want you to try this right now. Pause for a moment if you need to.
Think about your job or what you're studying.
And try to say one sentence out loud. Use the structure we just learned. I work as a Finn, whatever your title is, and I'm responsible for whatever your main action is.
Saying it out loud is so important. It builds the muscle memory in your brain.
So when you're in that real conversation, the words will be there for you.
You'll have your professional identity ready to go.
Okay, so we've covered what you do. Now let's talk about the how, the rhythm of your work life.
Right. This is part 2, the story of your workday.
And every good story needs a beginning and an end. So we start with the times.
These simple, necessary details. The structure is very clear. I start work at time, and I finish at time.
For example, I start work at 8:30 a.m. and finish at 4:30 p.m.
And we should probably just quickly explain AM and PM.
Good idea. So a.m. is for the morning before noon, and p.m. is for the afternoon and evening afternoon.
Simple as that.
What if your hours are not typical? Maybe you work at night.
Then you could say, I work the night shift. I start at 10 p.m. and finish at 6 a.m. The structure is the same.
Okay, so once we have the start and finish times, we can talk about the flow of the day.
The sequence of events. It helps to break your day into parts. The morning, the middle of the day, and the afternoon.
I like to think of a workday as a kind of a well-written script.
Ooh, I like that metaphor. A well-written script.
The morning is Act 1. You're setting everything up for the day.
That makes sense. For most people, Act 1 starts with communication. Checking messages.
Right. So you could say, the first thing I do in the morning is check my emails.
Or, I usually have a short meeting with my team to start the day.
What's a good word for that kind of short morning meeting?
A great phrase is a catch-up meeting.
A catch-up.
Yeah, you're just catching up on what everyone is doing. It's usually very quick, maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, so After you check emails and have your catch up, then you get into the real work.
Right, the main tasks. And this period often lasts until lunch.
So you could say, from about 9:30 until noon, I focus on writing my reports.
That shows you have a period of deep, focused work time.
Then, of course, comes the break, lunch.
This is a great time to add some social details to your story. It makes it more human.
I don't just work, you work with people. So you could say, I usually have lunch with my colleagues at around 1 p.m.
Or maybe, I take a short coffee break in the afternoon to stretch my legs.
These little details tell the listener a lot about your workplace culture.
They really do.
Yeah.
I eat lunch at my desk is a very different story from my team and I always go to a little cafe together.
So true. Okay, so after lunch, we're in Act 2 of our script, the afternoon.
The energy often changes in the afternoon. Maybe there are more meetings or phone calls.
You might say, in the afternoon, I usually have meetings with clients.
Or I use the last hour of the day to finish up my tasks and plan for tomorrow. Finish up is a great phrasal verb. It just means to complete something.
So let's connect this to our script. My Act 1, my morning, is all about creative work. I might say, I start my day by creating the outline for the show.
And my morning, my Act 1, is about checking facts. I could say, I spend the first few hours of the day organizing information. I don't usually have meetings before lunch.
Then we have lunch, our intermission.
Right.
And in the afternoon, my Act 2 is more collaborative. I review scripts with you and the team. What about your afternoon?
My afternoon is often about editing and communication. I might have to chase up some information.
Chase up? What does that mean?
It's a polite way to say you need to remind someone to send you something they promised.
I have to do that all the time.
Me too. And then my last task is always to make a to-do list for the next day. It helps me end the day feeling organized.
That's a great way to close the script for the day.
So when you're describing your routine, remember those three things: the time markers, the action words, and the social details.
It helps you tell a much more interesting story about your job.
Okay, so we know what you do and when you do it. Let's talk about where you do it, the location and the atmosphere.
Yeah, the idea of a workplace has changed so much, so it's important to know the right words.
The most traditional answer is probably, I work in an office downtown.
Downtown means the city center, the main business area.
Right, but maybe your office isn't downtown. It could be in what's called an industrial park outside the city.
Okay, but what about the most common situation for many people now?
Working from your house.
Yes.
The best phrase for that is, I work remotely from home. Remotely means you are far away from the office.
And what if you do both? A few days in the office, a few days at home?
That has a special name. It's called a hybrid job.
Hybrid. Like a hybrid car, it's a mix of two things.
Exactly. You might say, I have a hybrid job. I go into the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's a really useful phrase to know.
And of course, not everyone works at a desk.
True. For people who work outside, like a gardener or a construction worker, you can just say, I work outdoors.
Simple and clear. Now, the place is one thing, but the feeling of the place, the culture, is another.
The atmosphere. Is it formal or informal?
So a formal culture would be a lot of rules.
A lot of rules, yes. And usually a strict dress code. You have to wear a suit and tie, for example.
And an informal workplace is the opposite.
Much more relaxed. You can probably wear jeans and a t-shirt. The communication is more casual.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's get into some essential vocabulary for the workplace.
First up, a term for the physical design of many modern offices. Open space.
An open space office.
It means it's one giant room with lots of desks, no small private offices, no walls between people.
Right. And that really affects the culture, doesn't it?
It does. It can be great for talking to your team, but sometimes it can be hard to concentrate because it's noisy.
I've heard people say, I work in an open space, so I have to wear headphones all day.
A very common situation. Now, let's talk about the people, your team.
How do you describe how you work together?
If it's a good relationship, you could say, my colleagues are very supportive. Or, if you're very close as a team, you could say, We're a tight-knit team.
Tight-knit. I like that. It sounds like a warm sweater.
It means you're very connected, like a family.
Okay, let's move to some more key vocabulary. These are words you will hear every day at work.
Let's start with a big one. Deadline.
Ugh, the deadline. Just hearing the word makes me a little stressed.
Me too. A deadline is the final time or date you must finish a task.
It's not a suggestion, it's a rule.
It's a hard stop. If you miss the deadline, there are usually problems.
For me, the deadline for our script is a perfect example. If I miss it, we can't record the show for you.
Next word. Boss.
The person in charge.
Your manager. The person who gives you your tasks and checks your work.
Sometimes you might hear supervisor or team lead. Are those the same as the boss?
They're similar. A supervisor often manages your work hour by hour, but the boss is usually the person who can, give you a raise or a promotion. They have more authority.
Got it. And what about the people at the same level as you?
Those are your coworkers or your colleagues.
Is there a difference between coworker and colleague?
It's a very small difference. Colleague sounds a little more formal and professional,
I see.
but you can use them pretty much the same way.
Okay. And the last person in this group? The person you do the work for?
The client?
Or the customer?
Yes. The client is the person or the company that pays for your work.
Right.
If you're a lawyer, you have clients. If you work in a shop, you have customers.
Very useful distinction. Okay, one more vocabulary phrase that's really important today.
Flexible hours.
Everyone wants flexible hours.
It means you have some choice about when you start and finish work.
So as long as you work your 8 hours, you could maybe start at 7 a.m. and finish at 3 p.m.
Exactly. Sometimes there are core hours, which means everyone has to be in the office from, say, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But the rest of the time is flexible.
Understanding all these terms, it really helps you understand how modern workplaces function.
It shows you're not just learning the language, you're learning the culture of work, too.
A job isn't just one thing, it's part of a journey.
That's a great way to think about it.
So in a good conversation, you need to be able to talk about the whole journey, where you are now, where you came from, and where you're going.
Let's start with right now, the present. Job satisfaction. How do you feel about your job?
If you're happy, it's good to explain why. Don't just say, I like my job.
Go deeper.
You could say, I love my job because it's creative, or I like my job because the people I work with are wonderful.
Another fantastic word is fulfilling. If your work makes you feel important and gives you meaning, you can say, my job is very fulfilling.
That's a great word, but what if you're not so happy? We all have parts of our job we don't like.
And you need to be able to talk about that in a polite, professional way. You don't want to just say, I hate my job.
Right, so what's a better way?
You can talk about the part you enjoy the least. For example, I really enjoy talking to clients, but I enjoy the paperwork the least.
That's very diplomatic. Or you can frame it in a positive way about the future.
How so?
You could say, I feel like I've learned everything I can in this role and I'm ready for a new challenge. That shows you're ambitious, not that you're complaining.
I love that. And that's a perfect transition to talking about when you're actually looking for a new job.
There is one perfect phrase for this.
What is it?
I'm looking for a new opportunity.
Yes. That is the one.
It sounds so much better than I need a new job. It's positive, it's professional, it's about the future.
It really is. And then you can explain why you're looking. Maybe it's for practical reasons.
Like, I want a job with better pay.
A more formal way to say that is better compensation.
Good to know. Or maybe it's about your time. I'm looking for a job with a better work-life balance.
That's a huge one today. It means you want more time for your family, your hobbies, your life outside of work.
Okay, so let's look backward for a moment to talk about your past experience.
You need to talk about the past to get that new opportunity.
The key phrase here is used to. We use it for things that are finished now.
For example, I used to work in a restaurant, but now I'm in an office.
It shows your journey, your growth. Or you could talk about the change in size. I used to work for a very small company, but now I work for a huge international one.
Now, here's the most important tip for talking about past jobs.
What is it?
Don't just say what you did. Focus on the skills you learned.
Yes. This is what companies want to hear. What value can you bring from your past?
So instead of just saying, I answered phones, you could say, in my last job, I learned how to communicate with many different types of people.
That's so much more powerful. You're talking about a transferable skill, a skill you can use in any job.
Exactly. Like problem solving or teamwork or managing your time.
Okay, we've done the present and the past. Let's get excited about the future career goals.
Yes, your ambitions. Where do you want to go?
You can use the phrase in the future, I'd like to.
For example, in the future, I'd like to open my own small business.
Or maybe my goal is to become an expert in my field, an expert or a
That if
specialist.
you're not ready for a whole new job, you can talk about the skills you want to learn.
Like, I want to improve my public speaking skills, or I plan to get a certification in digital marketing.
This shows you're always growing. You're motivated.
And finally, the big one, your dream job.
The ultimate goal.
If anything were possible, what would you do?
It's a great question to ask yourself.
And we encourage you to say it out loud in English.
It makes it feel more real.
My dream job is to be an architect and design beautiful buildings. Or, my dream job is to work for an organization that helps the environment.
When you can say your dream in English, you are setting a course for your future. You're telling the world and yourself where you're headed.
So, we have spent a lot of time on how you can talk about your job.
A lot of time.
But a conversation has two people. It's a dance. So you also need to know how to ask good questions.
This is the secret, really. Asking good questions makes you seem so much more friendly and interesting to talk to.
So you start with the basic one, which we know. What do you do?
Right. But you can't stop there. After the answer, you need a follow-up question.
And a great first one is about their feelings. Something like, do you like your job?
It's simple, it's human, it invites them to share a little bit more.
You could also ask, what's your favorite part of your job?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's very positive.
What if they seem like they don't like their job?
Then you could ask a gentle question like, is there anything you would change about it? That's a polite way to let them talk about the challenges.
Good idea. Okay, another area to ask about is their experience.
A simple and very common question is, how long have you worked there?
This tells you a lot. If they say 10 years, wow, they are very loyal and experienced.
And if they say 3 months, they're new. So you could ask, oh, what were you doing before this?
Now, here's my favorite question to ask. I think it makes the conversation much more exciting.
Okay, what is it?
What's the most interesting project you're working on right now?
Ah, that is a fantastic question.
Because it's not about the boring, everyday stuff. It's about what they're passionate about.
It moves the conversation from their job title to their actual current work. It's much more dynamic.
Or you can ask about their routine, like we discussed in part 2.
What is a typical day like for you?
This helps you really picture what they do. Are they in an office all day? Do they travel?
It gives you so much more information than just the job title.
And finally, you can ask about the environment.
You could ask, is your workplace more on the formal or the informal side?
Or do you work more with your internal team or mostly with external clients?
Using these kinds of questions shows that you are genuinely interested.
You're not just waiting for your turn to speak again.
You're being an active, engaged listener, and that makes you a great person to have a conversation with in any language.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground in our exploration today.
We really have, from the very basics to the big dreams.
We started by building your work identity, how to state your title, your company, and use those great phrases like, I'm responsible for.
Then we talked about your daily rhythm, thinking of your day as that well-written script with a clear beginning, middle, and end.
We explored the different work environments, the office, remote work, that hybrid model, and we learned that key vocabulary like deadline, colleague, and client.
And we wrapped up by looking at your whole career story, how to talk about the past skills you learned, how you feel about your job now, and how to state your future goals and your ultimate dream job.
And remember, these aren't just lists of words to memorize.
No, not at all.
They are tools. They give you the power to share a really important part of your life with other people.
When you can talk about your work with confidence, you're not just practicing English. You're building connections, and you're showing people the unique value that you bring to the world.
So now it is your turn. We have a final challenge for you.
What is the one word or the one lesson you learned today that you feel excited to use?
Write it in the comments below. Tell us what you like most about your job, or if you're looking for one, what is your dream job?
We absolutely love reading your comments and seeing you put your English into action. It's the best part of our job.
Practice is what turns knowledge into skill. Thank you so much for joining us for this in-depth look at the language of work.
We hope you feel much more prepared for that next conversation. Until next time, keep practicing.
Goodbye.
See you next